Richard Burgon.
Thanks very much, and it's a real historical day today in Labour politics, in socialist politics. Some things have changed, some things haven't changed. Microphones still sometimes don't work properly at left-wing meetings, so that hasn't changed. Banners nearly fall down at left-wing meetings, that hasn't changed. I saw Ian Hodson in a suit today earlier, so that has changed. And of course, John McDonnell's speech today, Shadow Chancellor, was all about change. And I want to start my remarks by talking about the speech this lunchtime by our Shadow Chancellor, by John McDonnell, who is of course so well known to everyone in this room for setting up the RRC and for all the work he's done with you over the years. And John McDonnell's speech today was a speech that changed everything. It's rare in politics, isn't it, to be present at a speech where you feel you're at a historical moment. A moment in the development of politics is changing politics in this country forever. Not just a historical moment for the Labour Party, but a historical moment for the country and for the way the economy works, and in whose interests the economy works. So I'm proud to be part of John's Treasury team, and Shadow Treasury team, and as has been said from the platform, he was definitely the right choice for Shadow Chancellor, because he is not going to be following a script of anti-austerity grudgingly. He'll be driving anti-austerity politics. So today, neoliberal economics, which has never worked in the interests of the 99%, was fundamentally challenged for the first time by the leadership of a party that can be in governments. Today, the free market madness, which by and large has ruled the roost for more years than I've been on this planet, has been fundamentally challenged for the first time by the leadership of a party that can be in governments. How exciting to be a member of a party where the Shadow Chancellor has created an economic advisory committee that includes Joseph Stiglitz, Thomas Piketty, Professor Mariana Mazzucato, Anastasia Nesvatailova, Anne Pettifor, Danny Blanchflower. How exciting to be the party which is the anti-austerity party in the UK. A party that believes that what unites people is the class that they're in and the economic situation they're in, not a line that's drawn a bit further up from Leeds and a bit further up from Newcastle. As Jeremy Corbyn said on the Andrew Marr show yesterday, if you need a house in Glasgow or if you need a house in Birmingham, you still need a house. If you're employed in poverty in Edinburgh, or if you're employed in poverty in London, you're still unemployed and in poverty. The truth is, comrades, a flag has never built a single counter. Anti-austerity party in the UK, a party committed to developing a serious, considered, practical and deliverable set of economic policies for a more prosperous and more equal Britain, where our public services are protected and indeed flourish. How exciting to be in a party which has just elected Jeremy Corbyn as our leader, committed to opposing austerity, committed to progressive internationalism, committed to getting Labour elected as a transformative government, running things in favour of the interests of the 99%. And never forget, Jeremy Corbyn was elected with a bigger mandate than any Labour Party leader in our history. Be a member of a political party that is becoming becoming more than a political party, which is becoming a living, breathing social movement as it was always meant to be. How exciting to be a member of a political party whose leader is the first leader in the history of UK politics to appoint a shadow cabinet with a majority of women. Jeremy Corbyn kept his promise, no matter what the chattering class newspapers and opportunists who've suddenly found out that they're apparently feminists, have never been feminists before, say. How exciting to be part of a political party where the leader does not play the media game of pretending to be an all-seeing, all-knowing, omnipotent figure who instead values the views of members, the length and breadth of the country, and is committed to making a party more democratic and more inclusive. So there's a lot of excitement about us, but what is exciting to us in this room is anything but exciting to elements of the Westminster establishment and elements of the big business-backed media establishment. What is exciting to us, what gives us hope, gives them fear of real change. Jeremy Corbyn and Labour, as an anti-austerity movement, a movement for the 99%, represents real change. The big business-backed media doesn't want people to vote for real change. And the Westminster establishment doesn't want people to vote for real change. Because they, unlike people out in the real world, are doing quite well out of the status quo. They, unlike people out in the real world, are doing quite well out of business as usual. Well, I represent people who need real change. I represent people for whom the status quo means very little chance of getting a council house or a mortgage. People for whom the status quo means a lack of good, well-paid, secure jobs. People for whom the status quo means a lack of real apprenticeships. People for whom the status quo means being priced out of going to university. Friends, comrades, it's time to puncture the Westminster bubble and let the real world come rushing in. And that's exactly what has started to happen apace with the election of Jeremy Corbyn as leader of the Labour Party. And I say, as a diplomatic, mild-mannered, friendly, collegiate person, I say to those in the Labour Party and in the Parliamentary Labour Party who have maybe been slightly disorientated by the sheer pace of positive change that has occurred in our party, I say to them, Labour is a broad church, always has been, always will be, and don't miss out on the chance to be part of that positive change and shape Labour and the country over the years ahead. Be part of the new kind of politics. As was mentioned by Katie earlier, 100 years ago, Saturday, 100 years ago, Keir Hardie passed away. The death of Keir Hardie, miner, trade unionist, socialist and internationalist. Keir Hardie was rooted in his times, but was ahead of his times, as all great leaders must be to be great leaders. I believe we now also have a leader who is rooted in our times, but is ahead of our times too. But no leader who is committed to real positive change can succeed against the might of the establishment without the support of the movement. You, including you in the posh seats up there, are part of that movement. So the cheap seats that we consider. The cheap seats, that's what John Lennon said. The posh people downstairs. But you are part of that movement. You are that movement. And now is the time. Stay strong, friends, because the establishment will attack us. Stay strong because it won't be easy. Achieving real change never is. What helps me to remain strong are those who come to my constituency advice sessions week after week, those who need the real change that Jeremy stands for, the real change that John McDonnell set out so eloquently and so importantly in his speech today. And what keeps all of us strong is you, each other, standing shoulder to shoulder, up for the task of making life much better for the 99%. Up for the task of creating a society that is more prosperous, more equal and more just. A society our party was created to create. And I'll finish on this. It's a quote that means a lot to me. and it's a quote that makes me think of our movement, and makes me think of Jeremy Corbyn, and makes me think of all the work we've got to do. Norman Thomas, a great socialist from the United States of America, who stood to be President of the United States of America on 6 occasions, said, "I am not the champion of lost causes, but the champion of causes not yet won." Yeah. Comrades, after so many causes that still need to be done, don't we need to sort out the housing crisis? Don't we need to create a society that just doesn't do whatever don't we have a government that just doesn't do whatever the government of the United States asks it to do or tells it to do when it comes to international policy? Don't we need to sort out the cause of our vastly unequal society? Don't we need to sort out the cause of the privatisation of our public services, the cause of the anti-democratic counter-revolution that has been taking place in this country since 1979 and is being pushed forward even further with attempts to introduce TTIP, which, by the way, I'm against, full stop. Remember what he said. Remember the causes that together we can win. And I'll tell you, friends and comrades, not only do I believe we can win those causes, I believe we will. Today is the day that will be remembered in history with one of the most important speeches by any Labour politician for decades. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about John McDonnell's speech. So thanks for your patience. Wonderful to be with you. I've said this before at the meetings, and I'll say it again because it's true. There's nowhere in the world I'd rather be than in a room full of people who want to change the